Biden cover-up just blew wide open. It's not just a scandal, it's a full-blown constitutional crisis. Joe Biden's doctor just pled the fifth, twice. Lawmakers are now saying those executive orders and pardons might be illegal. And even MSNBC's Morning Joe is turning on the regime. Before we get into it, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next exposure. Roll that tape.
Hurry up.
Dr. O'Connor, how is that?
Will you make any comments to press, sir?
Do you have a message for the committee?
That's the walk of a man who knows he helped cover up one of the biggest betrayals in U.S. history. He didn't just avoid the questions, he avoided accountability. This man swore an oath to the American people, not just Jill Biden's chief of staff or Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama's leftovers. And the fact that he won't answer as to whether or not he was told to lie about Joe Biden's health, that tells you everything. They knew Biden was deteriorating, but they needed a puppet. So they gave us a presidency by committee and hoped we'd never notice.
I can tell you exactly what happened. Dr. O'Connor pleaded the Fifth Amendment, and I'm gonna read the first two questions that were asked. Were you ever told to lie about the president's health? He pleaded the Fifth Amendment. He would not answer that question. The second question, did you ever believe President Biden was unfit to execute his duties? Again, President Biden's White House position pleaded the Fifth Amendment. This is unprecedented, and I think that this adds more fuel to the fire, that there was a cover-up. I believe that this adds legitimacy to the Tapper book and the other books that are in the works that are about to come out that shows there was a lot of suspicious activity taking place in the White House with respect to the president's health.
That's not how a confident doctor answers. That's how a guilty man answers. The Oversight Committee isn't asking trick questions. They're asking basic questions about presidential fitness. And if the doctor won't even say, no, I wasn't told to lie, then guess what? He was told to lie. This wasn't a slip up. This was coordinated, premeditated, and executed with precision because the regime was desperate to keep this charade alive.
His actions today speak loud and clear. Again, this was an opportunity to come clean. And, you can say, oh, the president was in great health. This is just a conspiracy theory. He was fine. I don't know why they use the Autopen 75% of the time when he was in the White House. I mean, this is what it's all about. It's about the Autopen. There is serious concern, and the evidence mounts by the minute that Joe Biden had no idea what his name was being signed to. And we're talking about executive orders, and we are talking about pardons. So, what Dr. O'Connor did today only added fuel to the fire, that there was a cover-up and that Joe Biden wasn't mentally fit to serve as President of the United States.
Let's not sugarcoat this. This wasn't lazy governance. This was a silent coup. When the president isn't signing laws, pardons, or orders himself, that's not leadership, that's fraud. They ran the country like a Weekend at Bernie's movie. They used the Autopen like a permission slip to bypass the Constitution. And now, all of those orders might get reversed. The pardons might get yanked. The whole thing is unraveling.
In 2021, President Biden issued 78 executive orders. None were signed with an Autopen. That first year of the presidency, Biden, I suppose, was relatively lucid, and 78 executive orders he signed by hand. The second year, however, we see the Autopen emerge. The first Autopen executive order was issued on July 15th, 2022. After that day, 100% of the executive orders issued in 2022 were signed by an Autopen. In 2023, Biden issued 24 executive orders. 16 were Autopenned. In 2024, Biden issued 19. 14 were Autopenned. In 2025, Biden issued 14 executive orders. Every single one was Autopenned.
They didn't even try to hide it. The more his mind slipped, the more they reached for the auto pen. And the kicker is, 75% of those documents were signed while he was sitting right there in D.C. This wasn't a case of Biden just being on vacation. It's a case of Biden not knowing what day it was. They didn't trust him to sign his name, but they expected us to believe he was running the free world.
Mr. Wald, let me ask you as a legal matter, if there's a law that's passed both houses of Congress and it goes to the White House, and a staffer auto-pens signing that law without the president's authorization, is that law legally passed and signed into law?
No.
If an executive order is issued and a staffer auto-pens it without the president's authorization, is that executive order legally binding?
No.
And if a pardon is issued from the President of the United States and a staffer auto-pens it without the president's authorization, is that pardon legally binding?
No.
So let's be crystal clear here. Every executive order signed by a Biden staffer without Biden's consent is null and void. Every law passed like that, illegal. Every pardon inked without his say-so, nullified. We're not just talking about fraud here, people. We're talking about governing without consent. This is the type of thing that topples governments if we're serious about justice.
You guys have reporting in the book where Joe Biden, when letting Kamala Harris know he's dipping out of the race, saying, you shouldn't run away from me entirely, though some people are probably going to tell you to do that. I am popular in places like Pennsylvania, which you're going to need to win.
Yeah, what's remarkable about that moment, Willie, is that that call happens on the day of her debate with Donald Trump, which is in Philadelphia. And Biden is calling ostensibly to wish her good luck on one of the most consequential nights of her professional life. And then he says he's hearing from friends that she may be campaigning in a way that is disloyal to him. And he suggests that could be a political mistake because he remains popular in Pennsylvania. But remember, at this time, Joe Biden has basically been pushed off the ticket, and Democrats do not want him running, and many actually want her to separate herself from him. And that's not the only reason she didn't separate herself from him, but that's a key moment in this campaign in which she's really trying to run her own race against Donald Trump.
Now, MSNBC is backpedaling like they didn't carry this con on their backs for 4 years. Joe Biden practically begged Kamala to stay close because if she had told the truth about his real condition, it would have blew the top off of everything. But she didn't stay quiet because she cared about loyalty. She stayed quiet because she was in on it. The second she tried to distance herself, she would have had to answer for the cover-up too. And if this whole presidency collapses, her fingerprints are on everything.
A lot of the folks around Kamala Harris wanted her to make some distance from Biden on various places. They said, you know, he's an albatross, his numbers are so bad, the public really does not want him as president. And to have a chance at winning this race, we have to have some distance. And she was not willing to do that. I mean, as you showed the famous clip there on The View, she gives that answer, and our book reports her aides backstage, head in their hands. They try to get the host to actually do the question again to hopefully revise her answer, which she never does. So what her team is contending with throughout the fall is, you know, his numbers, his problems, and she doesn't want to create any public distance. She thinks it won't be authentic. She believes that it wouldn't work, and her team is trying to get her to do that. So
that's what happens when you put an incompetent puppet in a job reserved for serious people. They threw $1.5 billion behind her, had 60 Minutes edit her answers, and she still flopped. Because no amount of media grooming can make up for the fact that Kamala Harris was chosen for optics, not ability. And now the elites who propped her up are silently trying to disappear like they had nothing to do with it. The bottom line is, they lied, we watched, and now it's payback time. They called Trump a threat to democracy, while they ran the most anti-democratic administration in American history. They mocked voters for noticing Biden's decline. They hid medical records, they dodged questions, all while lying through their teeth. This isn't politics, this is treason. And I'll say it plain, if these crimes go unpunished, we don't have a republic, we have a regime. But now the truth is out, the masks are off, and it's time for some people to face real accountability. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should executive orders signed with an Autopen be revoked? How far does the shadow government go, and who's really been in charge? Should Biden's doctor lose his license for participating in the cover-up? If Kamala knew, should she be disqualified from running? And what happens if pardons and laws are invalidated? Thanks for watching, people. You know what I need you to do. Hit that like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and share this with somebody who needs to see it. Thanks again, people. We appreciate your time. God bless.
Listen.